Welcome to Unapologetically Sensitive, where you can learn, relate, laugh, and maybe even live a bolder, brighter life. I'm your host, Patricia Young. This is a weekly podcast where we explore the strengths we have because of our sensitivity and some of the challenges it poses as well. The information in this podcast is not a substitute for help from a licensed mental health professional. Hey there. To the creatives, healers, sensitives, and deep thinkers, how the heck are you doing? It's the beginning of March 2022. I don't even know what to say about that, so I'm just going to jump into what we're going to talk about today. I want to talk a little bit about what do we do when things get stressful? How do we juggle priorities? How do we manage self-care? Oftentimes little things can rattle us, and then it creates some tension and stress and irritability. And in some of the things I'm going to tell you, I recognize that I have a lot of privilege. I've got much more freedom with my time and flexibility. If you're someone who has young kids, if you're caring for others, you're caring for parents, you've got people in your life that have mental illness, you have a 9-to-5 job, or you have a job where you don't have that flexibility with work or not as much free time. I recognize that I'm really blessed to be living the life that I'm living. And I think that some of these things are still really relevant to what people are going through. So let me give you a story first, and then I'm going to talk about how this relates to self-care. And I have this little gremlin like, what if there's no self-care in this? But there is. I know that there is. As some of you may know, my son has a dog, Zeke, who we watched over the holidays. I really hadn't realized how much I missed having a dog. He's a big dog and he's 2 years old. We roughhouse, we play. I took him to Fiesta Island. I took him to Dog Park. We threw the ball around. It really was a lot of fun. And I love Gracie. I've had her, a long time now. She's 11 and I got her when she was 2. So I've had her for 9 years. But as you know, she's a medically complicated, fragile dog. She's got one eye. She's blind. We give her medication. I'm sure you've heard this a million times, 5 times a day, 5 a.m., 7 a.m., 1 p.m., 7 p.m., 9 p.m. We love her. And it's a lot of work. And I realized having Zeke here, how much I loved having this young dog. So I told Steve that I wanted to get a dog. And what you're going to hear coming up is, over Christmas, my son got COVID when he was home, and I thought I had it, so I was isolating in his room. And my husband came in to talk to me, and I recorded. I said, can I record this? So I recorded it. I have a TikTok if you follow me on social media. So here's a clip of the conversation that Steve and I had.
So I had a little bit of an awareness when I was walking Zeke.
Okay.
Honey, if you want to get a dog, by God, get a dog.
Are you serious?
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, you let me go to Laughlin as many times as I want, whenever I want. And if you want to get a dog, if the dog brings joy to you, then do it.
Woohoo!
I have 2 requests.
Okay.
One.
Does it get to be a living dog?
That would be nice. Okay, I have 3 requests. One is I don't want to get a puppy.
Yeah, I don't think I want a puppy either.
A puppy. And the second one, and I hate to be restrictive, but it'd be great if the dog we get had 2 eyes.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
No seizures, 2 eyes, no apparent medical problems.
All of that is an added bonuses. Yeah.
And for anybody that doesn't know this, we have a one-eyed blind dog who has seizures, and we're giving her medication 5 times a day, 9 pills. We get up at 5 in the morning, so it's not that we have anything against disabled dogs. We just have our hands full. Hey, Zeke boy, come here. Come here, Mr. Man. Don't step on this dog. Okay, go ahead.
That's all. So we can, when you're ready, we can look for another dog.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And this is not our dog. We are dog sitting. So we just have this sweet, blind, one-eyed dog that has lots of medical problems. All right. Thank you, honey. Mm-hmm. Woo. All right.
And I trusted that the right dog would find us. Whatever the perfect dog we were meant to have would find us. And then sometime, I think in January, my son Josh sent me a video of his dog again playing or doing something. And I told him how much I missed his dog. And he told me that he would bring Zeke down. Josh lives about 2 hours away from us, to stay with us for the week. So my son lent me his dog, which I talked about at the end of one of the most recent episodes. And this really did make me realize, like, I really want to have a dog. So I started going on websites. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I've been thinking about a standard poodle. I've never had a purebred dog. Our neighbor has one, and I talked to her about the breeder that she went through. I talked with the breeder. There weren't going to be any puppies available until the end of, I think maybe February. I'm not sure. And I had gone to Costco, and for Christmas, I bought Zeke some dog toys at Costco. And when I went back, they had them. So I bought them, and I bought a dog bed. If you've seen Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. I thought, if you buy them, the dog will come. So I started kind of buying toys in preparation of knowing that we would be getting a dog soon. So this past Sunday, Steve golfed in the morning, and then I was telling him I really want to get a dog. And typically I'm a very verbal processor, so I just talk and he listens. But he's like, all right, if you want to get a dog, let's go get one. I'm like, really? So we called the Humane Society to see if we had to have an appointment. We went down to the Humane Society. Of all the dogs there, we found one dog that we were interested in, but this dog didn't get along with any other dogs. As many of you know, my mom lives with us. She has her own place that's attached to ours, and she has a dog, a little dog who is pretty reactive. And obviously with my dog, Gracie, being blind, she's got the sweetest temperament, but we need to make sure that this is a dog that will get along with all of our dogs. So that dog was out. When we talked to the adoption worker, we told her what we were looking for, and she said she had a puppy. And when we were thinking about getting a standard poodle, Steve kind of relented on the puppy, even though he said he didn't want one. And then this was a terrier puppy. And my experience of terriers is they're high energy. They need a lot. And I was thinking, I don't think so. But I thought, let's meet her and let's just see. Because again, I trust that the right dog will come to us. So we met this 3-month-old little terrier. She chose us. We chose her. We ended up getting a crate that day. I figured with podcasting and having clients, I really need to be able to contain a dog when I do my work. So never done crate training before. So we had to buy a crate, collar, leash, dog food, harness, all of those things before we could take her from the Humane Society. They had a little tag maker there, so I needed to come up with a name for her. Her name is Maisie. And we got an engraved tag with her contact info. My concern was if we brought her home and somehow she escaped, even though she's microchipped, I wanted to make sure she'd be able to come back to us. We brought her home. So it's been a week, and today's Wednesday, so 10 days since we've had her. We brought her home, introduced her to Hope and Gracie outside separately. That went well. My dog Gracie was pretty nonplussed with the whole thing. Although if Gracie could talk, I'm sure now she would say that she's not really crazy about Maisie. We're pretty good about keeping Maisie from like nipping and just being playful with Gracie, but Gracie's blind, and what happens is even if Maisie is calm around Gracie, her tail is long and it hits Gracie in the head, and it's not anything that she intends. And Gracie does not yelp. She does not do anything to insist that this isn't working for her. So we carry Gracie around the house a lot now because, she can't see the tail coming, and I think it's really rattling for her. Now, normally I paddle on Mondays and Wednesdays and then usually on Saturdays, but this first week I knew that just wasn't going to work because we needed to get Maisie on a schedule, get her settled into a routine. So this is about choosing priorities. Paddling keeps me sane, and if I'm going to have a puppy, I need to be responsible and get the puppy on a schedule. So that's what I did. On Wednesday, I normally do a 6:30 a.m. paddle, and we go out to the beach. We launch from the docks, but I decided that I would meet the group there at 8:30 after we paddle. We meet for coffee in the parking lot, and I wanted to see my friends, and I wanted to bring Maisie to meet everybody. It was pretty cool. I took her to the dock, so you have to walk over where the water is. She looked down into the water. She wasn't afraid. She greeted the paddlers at the dock at their level as they pulled into the dock, and she watched people pull their kayaks up onto the dock. She was friendly and social and wasn't afraid of the water. She was so well behaved and polite and calm while we had coffee. I'm really trying to give her as much stimulation. So before I went, she had a good walk. We've got a couple of puzzles that you put their food in, and they have to knock things off and move things over to get to the food. So I think she's, aside from having a sweet temperament, I think she's just getting a lot of stimulation so that she was able to just relax and be incredibly sweet. She really likes riding in the car. She's very comfortable. I've noticed that she just needs gentle correction, that she just tends to be a little bit more of, I don't know if she's a sensitive dog, but if you're big and loud with her, she doesn't really like that, especially if you're a man. Just a very sweet, sweet, sweet dog. We're getting up one time a night to let her out of her crate. However, one night Gracie fell off of the bed, which is, I don't think that she had a seizure once and she fell off of the bed. So in 9 years, 2 times she's fallen off of the bed. But recently she's getting up 2 times a night. She's thirsty. She has to go out. So that's 3 times a night that we get up. And then the 5 o'clock pill for Gracie. It's been hard, y'all. I love my sleep. So Steve and I will take turns. Tonight is my turn to do Gracie duty. And then I get up for Maisie at 1 in the morning and Steve takes the 5 o'clock pill and taking them out. But this is what you do if you have kids, if you have dogs, if you have pets, if you're a caregiver. Sometimes you lose sleep. And again, choosing priorities, that if we chose to have a puppy and we chose to have Gracie, sometimes you have to do this stuff. We have a dog door, but because Maisie was spayed when we got her, the day we got her, she was spayed. I was going to wait to teach her how to use the dog door. But on the 4th day in the morning, we fed her and we were getting ready to take her out, but she went to the dog door. She hopped out of the dog door, took herself to the backyard and went to the bathroom. I was pretty impressed. She has had a few accidents in the house. That's on us. But in the last 11 days since we've got her, she's had 3 accidents, which I think is pretty amazing if you figure puppies go every couple of hours. She also plays by herself. She does zoomies in the backyard. We've got a long stretch in our house and she will toss her toys around and growl. I'm going to play a little clip for you of the noise that she makes while she's playing with her toys. And she also will bring her toys to us. She'll run around the house, zoom to us, drop the toy and have us throw it so that she can go chase it and bring it back. We are taking a puppy class and working on manners every day. And then in the afternoon, we walk my mom's dogs. So usually I'll take 2 of the dogs. I usually take the 2 sighted dogs and Steve takes the blind dog. And Maisie's pretty good on the leash too. You know, I thought having a puppy meant that she'd be out of control and barking and chewing and destroying things and having accidents all over the house. It's really been a very pleasurable experience and she's a pretty easy dog. It was pretty hard the first week, though. You know, I found that I was really hypervigilant watching her. Part of it felt like a vacation. I spent a lot of time in the backyard just giving her the opportunity to go to the bathroom on her own so I could praise her and reward her and give her treats. That slowing down, being more present. So kind of that mix of relaxation and tension. Again, this is how we navigate having multiple things going on and seeing what are the things that are working, what are the things that are hard. And I think if we don't have this awareness of mindfulness, it would have been really easy to go into that narrative of, oh, this is like having a baby. I'm so tired. She's had an accident. We're not getting any sleep. And we made this choice and there were things that were, you know, the both and about it. On the weekend, I was really tired. So I took Maisie out and then I have a mattress on the floor in my office and they came in here and laid down. I've done it twice now with Maisie and Gracie. They come on the bed, they just nap with me and cuddle. It's incredibly, incredibly sweet. So Saturday, I was finally able to paddle. Steve was going to be home. And the group that I paddle with tends to do these longer paddles on Saturdays that I'm not always up for, but I wanted to go out for a paddle. But Brenda, my paddle partner, joined us. And when we launched, we were going to do this long paddle, and then Brenda got a call from her daughter and needed to take a shorter paddle. And I decided to stick with Brenda and let the group know that we were going to branch off and do our own paddle. It ended up being perfect. We did a 2-hour paddle. I got a little bit nauseous on the way back. I don't know what that was about. I don't know if I've talked to you all about how I can't steer my kayak and I'm dependent on the skeg. I usually deploy it about halfway. Well, the skeg was stuck, and so I could not deploy my skeg. So I did a 2-hour paddle with no skeg. And there were a lot of boats out, so that meant there was a lot of current, a lot of wakes, and I was able to manage okay. Some of it was a little bit hard. I kept kind of going into Brenda's boat. She was very forgiving. But it really worked that we had done this short paddle. This other group ended up going out for like 4 hours, which was way too long for me. We had something else going that day. We had a few things going. It was 87 degrees. So I really was grateful that I had trusted myself that a shorter paddle would have been appropriate. It worked out great. And this week, currently, usually Steve is home during the day, but this is the first time since COVID started that he's needed to be in the office every day this week, which put a little bit of a wrinkle in me being able to paddle. The good news is that Brenda, my paddle partner, has 2 puppies that are a month younger than Maisie. They're 2 months old. And so instead of meeting at 7:30, we decided to meet at 9 on Monday for a little bit of a later launch. And in the morning, Steve left for work, so I had to walk the dogs. And I found myself feeling irritable, and I couldn't really figure out what it was. And as I was driving to paddling, I was talking with a friend, and I've had this experience before when I've been irritable, and my expectation, so we talk about expectations and disappointments. My expectation was that the paddle would take the edge off of this irritability. And I thought, this is a setup because there's a chance that I'm going to paddle and I'm not going to get that relief that I was hoping for. And then when we launched, we had to keep track of time because I had a client at noon and we normally launch 2 hours earlier and I don't have to pay attention to time. And then it occurred to me the irritability was about having to focus on time, that normally when I walk the dogs in the morning, I don't look at my watch. I've got plenty of time. I schedule my clients for the afternoons so that the mornings are free for the dogs, for paddling. When Brenda and I paddle, sometimes she has things, so she will keep track of time, but I've never had to monitor how long are we out for, when do we need to come back. That's what was contributing to my irritability, this pressure. And how long has the dog been in the crate? How am I going to get her out of the crate? And then I'm going to have to put her back in the crate because I've got clients and I've got group. So just realizing what the irritability was about. And the reframe for me is being really grateful that I've created this lifestyle that allows me to paddle, it allows me to walk the dogs, it allows me to do these things. And with the choices that I've made recently, if I'm going to have a puppy and we're going to crate train, something has to give and that there may be a little bit more tension. Again, I recognize I really have a place of privilege here, and it doesn't make it any less valid or any less real for me. But I have a lot of stuff with me when I kayak. I have a couple of bags. I have my paddles, which have their own container. I've got a bag that has all my equipment in it, my life jacket, my spray skirt, my bilge pump, my paddle float, drinking water from my kayak, drinking water for the car, my paddling gloves, my hat, the case for my phone, a dry bag for my keys, the tether for my water, a trash bag because we pick up trash while we're on the water, water shoes, towels for drying the kayaks when we're done, a sponge, some ginger candies. I keep another bag that's got a rain jacket and an extra paddling shirt, things that I might need. And then I have a 4th bag that has a change of clothes for cold and hot weather. So I've got, fuzzy boots, thick socks, underwear, pants, a t-shirt, a big, thick flannel jacket, everything that I need. Then my purse, then an insulated lunch bag with the iced coffee that I bring. I don't travel very lightly. So I'm thinking, we finished paddling at 11:30. I had a client at 12, and I knew that I had to let the dog out to go to the bathroom, the puppy, but get her back into the crate. And usually I take the boat off the car, I rinse it, I rinse my stuff, I take a shower, I need a bite to eat. And so I was a little bit panicky about time. So I texted my client, whom I've worked with for quite some time. We have a very good rapport. I'm very dependable. This is not something I do on a regular basis. And I called her, and for some reason, my hands-free link in my car wasn't working, so I had to pull over. And I just let her know what was going on and asked if she had any flexibility around our start time, and she did. So I asked what would be comfortable for her as far as delaying our start time, and we decided on 30 minutes. But I felt a little bit embarrassed because I was frantic, because this mode that you get into that if you just stay focused and you rush, you can get everything done, and I'd come flying in by the skin of my whatever the idiom is, teeth to just be here at noon when I needed to meet her. And I told her I felt a little embarrassed because I didn't feel super calm and composed, but she was fine with it. So on the way home, I was talking with a friend about, how much can I do when I get home? And Steve wasn't here to help me get the boat off the car, but there was sand on the boat and I wanted to rinse it because I don't like that stuff sitting on it. Neighbor came and helped me, got the dog out, had time to take a shower, had a bite to eat. It really worked out well. So by 12:30, when I met with my client, I was present, I was grounded, and we talked about what that experience was like with the flexibility. And I think it worked out well, that it modeled some of my humanity. We talked about flexibility. It just worked out really well. So my question is for you, do you allow yourself to make changes and plans if you need to? Are you comfortable asking to have your needs met? If you have a plan with somebody and they change it or they're late, do you judge or criticize others if they do this? Now, obviously, if you have people that are very undependable and they're constantly doing it, then that's annoying. But this often can be an indication of how much leeway we give ourselves for our own humanity and how much leeway we give to others. What I see sometimes in people, and I was this way, is this strict adherence to rules. The rule is we were going to meet at 12 and now you're changing it. And this pride in I never, I'm always there when I say I'm going to be, and I don't, people can depend on me. But there's also this lack of flexibility and grace, which is about honoring the human. We can honor the time and we can honor the human. And sometimes we can do both and it really works out well. I have a client who started this job and often needs to change the time because they have conflicting meetings at work. And if I have the availability in the room, I'm really happy to switch their appointment around and it's not a big deal. And I love having this kind of give and take, because then if I need to make a change, I also feel comfortable where I really, for the most part, try not to shuffle any clients around. And with the clients that we have this flexibility, it works really well. So where are you at with your sense of accommodating, with flexibility, grace for yourself, grace for others? And along the same lines, on Sunday, I had a plan with a friend and we talked about getting together between 9:30 and 10. And normally I have this therapist group that we've been meeting since last March. It's a Zoom group. I love this. And I had forgotten that we had to go to the commissary on Sunday also, because Steve wasn't going to be free during the week. And now we have the puppy and we can only leave the puppy in the crate for a certain amount of time. So I canceled the therapist group for me, but we had to play beat the clock because we had to get up, feed the pups, give them medication, walk them. We left at 8 to get to the commissary. We had to come home, unload. So at 9, I touched base with my friend because at 9:30, we were kind of tentatively planning on getting together to let her know what I needed. And I really did want to eat some breakfast. So I picked her up at 10 and said, how is it for you that I'm a little bit later than normal? She's like, it's totally fine. I said, do you have any feelings about it? She's like, no, I'm easy and flexible. And it was important for me to put the groceries away. I wanted to get a bite to eat. So again, do you allow yourself time for yourself in relationships? And then it also means creating permission. So if she was upset or annoyed, she could have said it. And I could have said, you're right. I'm sorry. If this is important, I will make sure that I prioritize it. It's about being able to have authenticity in our relationships so we can communicate about what works and what doesn't work. So my question to you is, when you have to juggle a lot of things, are you able to prioritize some of your self-care? Do you go into a narrative that everything is terrible, you're not getting any of your needs met, nobody's taking care of you? Do you identify what it is that you're needing and wanting? And do you negotiate to try and get some of your needs met? I'll tell you, with the puppy, there have been times I'm tired and I'm irritable, and Steve and I kind of get a little grumbly with each other. So it's not like I've got this nailed down. But can you look at what's going on in your life and to see how do you respond when there's a lot going on? Obviously, we do better when there's plenty of time for us and there's plenty of time for self-care and the demands are low. But there are times, or it may be your life where demands are high right now because of the way that your life is. Do you take care of yourself? Do you ask to have your needs met? Do people know what you want and need? Do you have that flexibility with other people? Is it working for you? If what you're doing is working and you're content and you're satisfied, there's no need to change. But if you're finding that you're feeling resentful or sad or you're not getting your needs met, then that might be something that you want to work on. Just some food for thought. I think that is all I have to share with you. I hope you are doing well. If you're doing well and things are going peacefully for you, I'm glad. And if you're struggling and you're having a hard time, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay that things are hard. We're going on a long time with this COVID and the new variants, and it's stressful. And I see that some of my clients are really struggling. It's hard, this overlay with everything else that's going on. So what do you need to do to take care of yourself? How can you support yourself? If you're interested, I'm trained as a therapist. I'm doing coaching now. I work with people internationally. You can reach out to me at unapologeticallysensitive.com. That's my website. All my information is there. You're always free to email me at unapologeticallysensitive@gmail.com. I love hearing from you. If any of this has resonated, if things that you're struggling with, relationships, boundaries, perfectionism, work issues, I'm trying to think of what else. Depression, anxiety. Like I said, I'm trained as a therapist. I would love to work with you. I do have a couple spots open. Remember, sensitivity is nothing to apologize for. It's our superpower. Have a blessed day.